Hello, guys, and welcome to the latest MSC Performance Podcast with me, Mark Coulson. This is episode number 17. Today, delighted to be joined by Mr. Luke Rogers and Miss Sonia Klokova. How are we doing, guys?
Very well, mate. Very, very well.
Thanks for having us.
Fantastic. You're welcome, Sonia. You're welcome. So 4 weeks till the reopening. Kind of feels like the first time all over again. Very mixed sort of feelings of excitement and bit nervous, bit of anxiety, but mainly excited. Mainly excited to get reopened again. 4 weeks out. So lots to look forward to. For me personally, really looking forward to seeing everyone again, seeing all our members, getting the atmosphere back down at MSC. It's been a empty, soulless industrial unit in over the last couple of months. So looking forward to getting all the characters back in there and going again. So today's podcast, we're really going to be just talking about the reopening of MSC and what to expect. Before we go into that, just have a little catch up with our coaches and see what's been going on and how training's been and everything like that. So what about yourself, Luke, and with the powerlifting work, what's been going on?
Like you said, I'm getting really excited now because all of a sudden we're getting close to competitions being announced, and there are competitions that have been announced that are coming out very soon. I've got a competition in June. So I've just started competition prep this week for that, which is really exciting. And like you said in your intro, I'm just really excited to get in the excitement back at MSC and having that atmosphere, because everyone's itching to do something. In particular, team sports are going to be delayed a little bit longer, but individual sports are going to be back up and running within the next 2 to 3 months. So people are just getting excited to get stuff back in. And me personally, there's about 6 people from MSC that are doing the super training comp. So just the atmosphere that's going to come with that is really exciting, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. Personally, my training, just an intro week this week's fairly light work, but pretty much repeating the same training cycle we did last time, but just making a couple of adjustments based off what I think needs to change. And I think that's the key, is just making these small changes every cycle rather than having a complete overhaul for the sake of an overhaul. So just little subtle changes to what worked last block, and looking forward to pushing on. But I feel pretty good, and I'm just really excited now to get stuck in and get to a comp, man. We're getting close. It's funny because it sounds like it's forever, and all of a sudden it's like 15 weeks till June the 22nd, which is the competition's on the 20th, and then the day after everything reopens. So it's like a countdown. In my head, we're going to do this competition, and then the day after we'll be able to go out and do drinks and do whatever you want. So in my head, it's going to be this amazing weekend. I hope it is, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, exciting times. Like the thing you say about the countdown when we reopen, that's a really interesting thing. I think people are going to be wanting to get stuck in. That sounds obvious because people haven't had gyms for so long, but especially with your competitive lifters and athletes, it's going to be really interesting. Like you guys, like you say, going to be, what was it, 8 weeks from how many weeks?
15
weeks for a comp.
Yeah.
But obviously your normal sort of countdown cycle will be 16 weeks, wouldn't it? 15, 16 weeks. That's exciting. Your field athletes now have got an idea of, all things being well, it looks like we'll be ready for next season for a September start. So even though that's a way off, you work backwards from that, and you'll be doing preseason games in August. You'll be, if not a little bit before, you'll be doing sort of preseason training, July, June, May.
Well, you're allowed to do full training now. Hopefully from June, you'll be able to do full contact training. You won't have to do any of your segregated training.
Exactly. And we're back, first week of April anyway for just general stuff. So all do
you think it's funny how people's how they when you be given 4 weeks and you're like, oh wow, that's not long. Or when we first went into lockdown, I was like, 4 weeks, what the fuck? How am I gonna not train for 4 weeks? And then it's like, oh, we're opening 4 weeks. And I was like, oh, that's not that long. I can do that. But when you first said, guys, it's going to be closed for 4 weeks, everyone was so scared. But now, people,
it's been so long now that all of a
Just
sudden,
another 4 weeks is
4 weeks
yeah.
is like quite an exciting sort of countdown.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Sonia?
So I've changed my training routine a little bit just to like kind of control the volume. Obviously, I've been doing the metcons with our members, and I've added some running. So I had kind of like a break from Ollie lifting. So I'm looking forward to adding that back, as the other stuff will kind of go on the side again. So definitely looking onto the side of being with the members, doing the things I've been doing myself. I'm probably gonna leave the running when we reopen. I think I've enjoyed that enough. I'm enjoying it, but I think I'm not gonna be doing it anymore. We'll see. Things been pretty good. But yeah.
What was the reason why you decided to stop doing either lifts? Was it for a break have you got a couple of injuries, or was it because you just wanted to get stronger?
Yeah, so I'm working around the little injury I have from last year November. So it's my QL. I strained my back a little bit, and I think that the volume with Ollie just didn't work well for it. So I'm obviously trying to work with Max a bit on this, doing couple bits, always some extras like the isometric work. Yeah, whatever I can just to make it better, and whatever, whenever it feels like I'm pushing it, I'm just taking a step back. So working around it, still working, but just trying not to provoke it. So hopefully when we're back, yeah.
How do you find it with the sprinting? Because I think with the QL, a lot of times it's if you're in this like extended pattern, and obviously sprinting is a lot of like extension. Do you find it uncomfortable sprinting, or is it okay?
No, it's actually okay. Like anything I do,
Cool.
It's actually okay, which is weird.
Do you think that's because you're slow?
Well, that's relative. That's relative to say. When you sprint against like with Mark, you're slow. No, so always when I get like pain, it's usually afterwards, like when I'm resting. Yeah. And even if I take day off, it hurts even more. So I just have to train non-stop.
Sonia, with the running, obviously been doing sprinting with myself, with the sort of long distance aerobic stuff. Do you think, first of all, have you enjoyed that, and then second of all, do you think that will carry over in any way to your training when when the gyms are back open and we're back into sort of full swing?
So I only run because I actually enjoy it at the moment. And if there's like a day I don't feel like running, I just don't, because I don't want to just make it not enjoyable. So it's kind of like a switch for the sessions I've been doing in the gym sometimes. Like I know that I can do a conditioning session for an hour. So the fact that I'm just able to run for an hour is just great aerobic base. And
I was going to say that if you didn't have a conditioning base or an aerobic base before, I think adding in this running, you'd get this massive gain from it. But because you've already got a fairly solid aerobic base, you probably notice no difference at all. But if you went from being no aerobic base to adding in some fitness, I think you get a good benefit from it.
You get a good carryover, wouldn't you? I think.
I definitely was building up a little bit, like starting with like 5, 10, 6, 7K. Now like 10 is pretty much easy. But like I spoke to Mark about it the other day, that like I know I'm not gonna be an endurance runner. Like I'm too heavy for that. Like I know I run slow, but it's fine because I'm just doing what I can now. And in terms of the crossover, like if I think it's gonna apply into my training, like 100%, like keeping up fit is good. I feel fitter than ever in terms of like fitness and aerobic base. And I think in terms of recovery, that's why maybe I can easily train every day and feeling good about it, perhaps.
I think it's a great example of the benefits of having a good aerobic base, whatever your sport really. I think me and Luke and myself have spoke about it for years, and whatever athlete you are, whether it's a powerlifter, a couple of my guys, pole vaulting guys at the moment, obviously that's a very power and speed based event, but using this opportunity to just once or twice a week build a little bit of an aerobic base so that the overall work capacity is a little bit better than it was before. So that's great.
Yeah, the running recovery sessions is an interesting thing. I was talking to one of my clients who's a powerlifter, and she was saying that she used to be part of a running club before she got a bit more into the powerlifting. And on a Sunday, they would do a recovery run. And the aim was to complete the run while still being able to talk to each other. And that was their way of like controlling the overall intensity. This was a few years back, so it was maybe before like heart rate monitoring and stuff was a bit more mainstream. But she used to do like a recovery one on the weekend. And I think that's a great thing to do. I prefer to do a walk because there's no way of me then working too hard, but like some kind of recovery work on the weekend. And if you enjoy running, fantastic, then go for a run. But just if the emphasis is on recovery, then you shouldn't be aiming to like increase your speed or increase your times every single week. It should be low intensity recovery work, keep it the same every week, and control the intensity. But if you enjoy doing it, like there's no reason why you couldn't do a recovery one on a Sunday. It sounds like you hate it, but if you liked it, you could continue it for sure. And it would be positive, I think, to your Monday.
That method's actually quite a well used one, like the sort of conversational aerobic, like for, like you say, low days and recovery days is, like, if you even at some professional levels, I know they do that for a recovery based session. They sort of they'll have the heart rate monitors on, but just for a bit of sort of fun as well, just like, right, you're just literally going to do X amount of distance, make sure you can hold a conversation on the way around just to keep it low. So that's interesting.
When I want to walk, sometimes I'll send a voice note to like clients, just talking them through like if they've done a check-in, and I'll be walking and I'll be trying to talk through this check-in and I'll be so out of breath after like 2 minutes. So yeah, I mean, obviously that would control the intensity, so it's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And the lower intensity days are great as well for just reinforcing technique and breathe and breathing work as well, which is massively important for aerobic stuff.
One thing I find for a lot of people is, especially if they haven't got like a high stress job, like, because if you've got a high stress job over the weekend, you're more relaxed, you come into Mondays, you feel good. But if you've got like a fairly like middle of the pack, like still working hard, but not like super high stress, if you spend your Sunday doing absolutely nothing and have a bit of a lazy day, probably shit eating, you come into Monday's session and it seems to go quite bad. And then those people then like they backlog their training so that they train hard on the weekends and start the week's actually fairly easy. Well, that goes against the grain of what a lot of people like to do. So just adding in a recovery day, all of a sudden you're doing some good movement. You're not sitting around slobbering all day, and you'll probably find that you eat a little bit better. So then you got the recovery component, but then also you've got the better setup for the week ahead, which can only be a positive as well. So I think it's like multitudinal benefits to that as well.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. I'll bore you with my training now as well. So for me, obviously we've got a bit of an idea now as to what's going on with rugby, which is great. It gives you a bit of an idea, and you can sort of work backwards from that. So I'm doing 5 days a week at the moment, which is a lot for me. So normally in off-season, pre-season, I'd work with 4 days. And in season, I'd work with 3. I did do 4 days in season up until a few years ago, and then sort of wound it down to 3, which works well. But yeah, 5 a week at the moment. So I do sort of two sort of high days and 2 low days, and then my 5th day is like just a kind of unilateral accessory type based movement. So on my high days, I'm going out and doing sprints in the morning, pretty early, getting those in. So I've been doing. Some people might have seen some footage on social media with Sonia. So we've been going out and hitting some sprints. So obviously the idea of that is it's short distance. The sprint sessions have been varied. Some of them have been flat sprints. Some of them being acceleration focused. Some of them have been sort of split work and flies and things like that, and even hills. So it's been nice variation on that. So I'll do the sort of sprints in the morning, and then later on in the day I'll do my heavy lifting, sort of like mainly on those days lower focused. So reps are a little bit lower, weights a little bit heavier. On my low days, I've been trying to get a bit of aerobic work in. So I've just been doing some tempo running, which is, I've worked with like mass type aerobic stuff before, maximal acceleration, maximal aerobic speed. But the tempo stuff is just a little bit kind of lower base. And with the amount of time that I've got until the season starts, that method just makes a little bit more sense for me at the moment and allows me to recover better for my higher days as well. So, you know, a lot of the time in off season, you know, because off season's so short normally before pre-season, it's normally only like 3 or 4 weeks. I actually don't do any on feet. Usually just do a very small amount of off feet conditioning. But obviously the off season's so big, it would be, you know, not the best thing to just wait until we go back to pre-season and then start running high volume. So I started off very slow and been building that up. And then later in the day on those low days is where I do my upper body stuff, you know, and accessory work as well. So that's the kind of balance of my training at the moment. The focus has been sort of very much like hypertrophy and, you know, and gradually building some strength work in, and then minimal dose of, you know, power and, you know, sort of power and speed strength stuff. That's transferring now into more strength being the primary focus. So big emphasis on strength at the moment. Hypertrophy is probably still second most important thing I'm working on. And then I'm starting to slowly just ramp up the dosage of the power stuff, but it's still fairly minimal. And then for the next couple of months, I'll continue with strength being the primary goal, but the power will overtake the hypertrophy work. So it'll be very much strength and power. And then like the accessory stuff will just become a little bit more minimal. And then the movements will get a bit more specific closer towards the season as well. So that's where I'm at with that. So moving on to, sorry, go on, Luke.
I was just going to say, like, when you say about like a small dose of speed and power, is that like, do you find like the sprint work is plentiful for your speed and power, or are you doing like extra work with like balls and Cool.
So the speed work's pretty much there. So in terms of actual plyo work, that's very, very, very minimal. I'm not doing any extensive plyos apart from that at the moment. Like I'm doing a couple.
Doing any throws and jumps?
Yeah.
You're doing some boards.
Yeah. So I'm doing. So in terms of like plyo, I mean, yeah, strictly speaking, it's ballistic stuff I'm doing really with just broad jumps, sticking the landings, doing a few, I'm doing for my verticals, I'm doing like box jumps just to take some of the impact away. So it's very minimal work in terms of the plyo and ballistic stuff. But I'm still utilizing med balls because I just think med ball works just such a cheap and easy, low cost way of getting a bit of speed and power work in. So yeah, the plyo stuff's very, very minimal because I'm sprinting a lot and, I'm just over about 107 kilo sprinting on tarmac. So it's quite high, and it's quite high forces, quite impact. So I don't want to be in the gym, on the road doing like high level plyos. So as I say, that side of it is very, very minimal. And the med ball stuff is minimal as well, but I like adding that in just as a bit more sort of speed strength. So bit of resistance. And like I said, I love med ball stuff because it's just so low cost. Like you can get some really good work in without destroying the central nervous system at all. So it's all fairly low dose in that sense. Yeah,
it's funny that we mentioned the med balls as we move seamlessly into MSC upgrades, ready to be reopening. We're just going to talk a little bit about like equipment upgrades, what we're looking like, what's going to be implemented from April. Try and just get people a bit excited to get back into MSC. So I think I'll let Mark talk because it's his gym, but we've had like quite an extensive amount of a kit come in and upgrades. And
mate, go for it.
At the minute, like you said, it looks. You sure?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
All right, amazing. So we've had a little bit of a thought about like how we want the gym to be laid out, and we've got a picture of what's going to be finalised. Unfortunately, as everyone knows, there's some kit that's out of stock at the minute, but we're only waiting for 2 or 3 bits. Apart from that, the gym's going to have a massive overhaul for when everyone gets back in April. So talking first with the Olympic weightlifting, we've moved the platform to be on the jerk blocks. We've replaced the squat stands, so now we've got 4 heavy duty squat stands from Pullum, which are excellent. I've used them for squats. I did miss the hook ons, but apart from that, they're excellent. The orange as well, so it matches the colorway, looks fantastic. We've got the 3 racks still with the hooks on them. We've added a heavy duty squat stand, which is very similar to combo, but without the option to put a bench in it. So if you wanted to do a competition style squat, you've permanently now got a place to do that without having to take away the combo bench for it, which is excellent. In terms of bench press, we've had all the benches reupholstered. So everything now is like to really good specifications. They've been repadded if they needed repadding. And we've ordered 2 new benches from Pullum as well, like competition style powerlifting benches. So now we've got 4 powerlifting specific IPF spec benches. And then we've also added 2 thick padded free benches as well, which can be put into power racks or can be put into the rigs. So you now, instead of having 2 bench places, we've got 6 really good spaces to bench from. So if you're interested in benching, you've got 6 competition height benches plus the 2 free benches we've got as well. So 8 places to bench from, which I'm really excited about. And I think that's going to be a massive thing for MSC. I think that covers the strength part, Mark, and then it's more the conditioning. Deadlift. We've ordered 2 new trap bars, open-ended trap bars, so you'll be able to do like reverse lunges with them, as well as your normal traditional trap bar work. So same as before, but just open-ended at the back. And we've added 3 deadlift platforms, which is going to be really, really good. So you'll have specific places to deadlift from now, which is going to keep things nice and tidy. It's also going to protect the plates, which is why we've implemented them. And yeah, you're going to be designated spaces now to deadlift from. The deadlift platform as well has band pegs on them. So you'll be able to do banded work on the platforms if that's something that you really want to do. So really nice amounts of upgrades, but also added some nice bits of kit as well. Sonia, do you want to talk through the conditioning?
Yeah.
Because conditioning kit's cool now. We've got some good conditioning kit coming.
Cool. So as you know, we've had the ski ergs arriving just literally, I think, a week before we had the shot. So we didn't really have a chance to implement these in our metcons, but we have 3 ski ergs. We also upgraded our bike section. So we replaced our assault bikes, the Devil bikes, with the Rogue bikes. So that's
Rogue Echo,
yeah, so that's gonna be ready for the reopen, hopefully. Fingers crossed if deliveries go well.
It's not if it goes well, it should be next week, Sonia. So unless there's an earthquake or something,
well,
they will be here.
Come on, these days is everything like delayed because the excuse is easy. But well, yeah, hopefully that should be ready.
I'll be flying you over to LA, mate, to pick them up if they're not ready.
So that's gonna be a great addition, the ski ergs into our section with the rowers bikes. So that's gonna be a good conditioning kit. And we also we upgrading the selection of our med balls. So this is gonna be probably like the newest addition into the metcons, like loads of ballistic work, speed work with the med balls, like low high velocity work, which I'm really excited to start doing with everyone, starting obviously with the bilateral stands and just progressing again slowly into like unilateral work, lunges, etc. So that's gonna be exciting. We also we also have some strongman stuff coming in. Well, strongman, we have some sandbags. So the metcons, as we used to do them, with like a bit of a overlap with strongman work. So that's going to be a new addition. And sorry, you said a prowler?
Yeah, we've had a new sledge. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I missed that.
That was obviously a surprise. That was
okay. So I think like sled relays are a classic thing at MSC. Everybody loves a prowler work.
We're replacing the one sledge with just the one that's 4 prongs, Sonia. The reason you don't know about it is because we're actually calling it the Sonia sledge. It's actually got your name on it, so it was meant to be a surprise, and I've ruined it.
The
Sonka sledge.
Cool. So we're gonna have that upgraded. I think we replaced or upgraded the farmers handles as well. I think that's pretty much it. Unless we still Yeah.
Just those £10,000 worth of conditioning kit, not that much.
Well,
But yeah,
you can add a bit more on top of that with the heating as well.
I was just going to say that the heating is the big one, unfortunately, because it's April when we be open. People aren't going to maybe appreciate. Maybe there'll be a couple of cold days, but like coming to the winter where like people start to dread coming to MSC. Like, obviously, everyone loves the gym, but they hate the cold. It's not going to be a problem at all now. So all year round is tops off and booty short season for both the men and the women. So
tops off, trow down. Lovely. What you guys? There's obviously quite a bit of kit there, and in my usual sort of I don't know, crazy sort of business sense that I have, just feel like, I mean, reinvesting in kit might be a bit mad during a global pandemic, but I've just got a real good feeling that gyms like ours are gonna hit the ground running, and I think people are mad keen to get back into training, and I think hopefully with this whole pandemic there's a little bit more awareness about health and well-being, and the importance of keeping fit. The data's there, the statistics are clear and obvious, so hopefully more people are looking to train more, and hopefully independent gyms like ourselves who take real pride in the people we're working with, and it's a very service-based product and setup, will thrive really. So we've sort of decided that, do you know what, let's roll the dice and get after it. Let's invest. We had a bit of a few savings stashed away for a rainy day. Wasn't expecting a rainy year, but for a rainy day. And then obviously our members keeping on board with as well has helped us to really improve the facility. So we're very, very excited to play with the new toys, and weirdly excited for next winter as well with the heaters, just to enjoy the effects of those. What are you looking forward to?
Hoping for like a real cold patch during April, like a couple of snow days, and
I'm praying it's going to be cold in April so I can get the new heaters on. What are you sort of most excited about there, guys, in terms of the new kit? Is there anything there that really sticks out for you?
For me, it's like from a powerlifting perspective, we had the pull-up combo bench, which is great. The strength shot bench, some people don't like. So a lot of people were waiting to use this one bench, and now all of a sudden you've got 3 good pull-up competition style bench presses, and then you've got the 2 MyFits, which are fantastic benches as well. So all of a sudden, even if you don't like the strength shot bench, you've got 5 competition bench presses. So you've gone from having to wait for 1 to 5, and that's ridiculous. It's going to be so good. That, and then the squat stands as well is an actual game changer, because I think we had the squat stands were good. They needed upgraded. They'd had their time. So like you've seen weightlifters doing squats in the power racks, which is fine. Like a lot of people prefer it, but traditionally weightlifters like using squat stands. That's a fact. But they would go in the power racks because there was no other option. While now you've got like some really good squat stands, and they can be used by everyone. So if I wanted to use squat stand, fantastic. You can use them for barbell club. So I think the squat stands and the bench presses are a really good upgrade, but also addition. So I'm really excited for both of those.
Easy to adjust as well.
So easy, yeah, they're great. Those pull-up squat stands are fantastic. Really, like
easy to move as well.
Yeah, easy to move on and off the platforms. Very easy to adjust, and they're really solid as well. I mean, how solid is that? The powerlifting squat stand as well, Lou. It's an absolute monster, isn't it? Like I was sort of testing it the other day, and just walking a bar back in, it just doesn't move. It's like solid. Yeah.
That's I mean, if I'm using a squat stand, I normally be careful putting in like anything relatively heavy. I think the most I've gone is 225. I've done 225 kilos on squat this last block, and like I just rack it in. I don't even think about it like I would do a power rack. It doesn't budge. It's great. You don't have to be careful at all.
Bulletproof.
It's super,
With
really,
a squat
really solid.
With a weightlifting squat stand, the way weightlifters and powerlifters normally re-rack weights is a little bit different, because with powerlifting it's more low bar. You're walking in, it's very sort of like almost horizontal, like the way you've got to put the bar back in, so a heavier works well. Whereas with weightlifters, a little bit more sort of upright and vertical as they put it down. But yeah, so yeah, five new squat stands there, which is fantastic. And watch this space for a couple new power racks as well, which might be coming later in the year. We'll see what happens there.
All of a sudden, when you add all that in, you got the benches, you got the racks, you got the platforms, the squats. You've got like a USA college style strength and conditioning gym. It's going to look unreal, man.
Yeah,
so,
very exciting.
Every time we have a picture updated on the website, like you look back 6 months later and you're like, oh wow, it looks so much better now. And then every 6 months there's something else. You're like, wow, that looks so much better now. And I just when does that end, Mark?
Well, it never ends, Luke. You're either moving forwards or backwards, mate. Can't stand still. Got to keep moving. So for you, it's the squat stands and the benches really that you look forward to the most. What about you, Sonia?
If you're getting rid of the heaters, then equipment.
The heater's probably the most exciting, isn't it?
So it might be surprised, but I'm actually really excited about the deadlifting platform.
Okay, I'm surprised you've said that. I'm very excited about those, but yeah, go on.
For some reason, like I'm super excited how it's all gonna fit into the layout, and I just think that it's gonna be so good to have this designated area. So that's and obviously I really like the addition that you can adjust the bands there. Like I just think it's gonna be a great upgrade for the barbell club as well. And for everyone who wanted to use it before. And then obviously I think I mostly enjoy the med balls.
You do the med balls, do you, Sonia? I've never seen you do med balls.
A bit of med ball throwing.
Never seen it.
So,
never seen it.
I just think it's a great addition, and I like the system of kind of warm up style. So like you do a bit of that before your session. So I think it's all super exciting.
Do you think a ball complex is going to replace the barbell complex that a lot of people do warm up? Do you think people are going to do ball complexes instead?
No.
Oh, okay. I think they would.
I've always enjoyed using med balls for warm ups.
It's actually like hard work. Depends what you do, but like you got to think like what is common mistake is that like boys usually pick up those 12 kilo, 9 kilo med balls and trying to do the speed work with it, but they actually losing all the benefit or all the idea they want to do with it because you're just not moving it that fast. Like Mark, you know yourself, like you wouldn't be really slamming the 12 kilo one.
Yeah.
I think that comes from like the misconception that with like strength training, there's an obvious thing of what you're trying to produce and it's very quantifiable. Where like I'm trying to lift more every single week. And I think unfortunately, if people think the same as with the speed work, where they think, oh, I'm trying to lift a little bit heavier and do the same movement, rather than thinking I'm going to keep the same weight and actually the speed is the emphasis. So let's keep focusing on the speed because it's not quantifiable. It's really hard for you to say, have I got faster? But if you say, oh, I was doing a 3, now I'm doing a 12, you think, oh, I've got stronger, but it's so light that it's
when we add this like into Metcons, we're going to explain it again to members. Like people will have
big time. That point you made there about the speed stuff, so true. Like having worked with some like rugby guys before in the past, and like especially with the military stuff that I used to do, like you'd have like sort of sort of strength speed based stuff with let's say squats, and you'd be doing like 6 doubles or 7 doubles 70%. It's like, oh, I could do way heavier than this, or I could do way more reps than this, and it's like, well, yeah, I know you can, but that's not the point of what we're looking for. And like, yeah, it's the same with med balls. Like with rotational throws, I might, I'd normally use a 6, but I could use a 3 as well. And it's like very light. I can throw a 12 into the wall, but it's what am I trying to achieve? And that's where you got to be very clear on what the goal of the exercise or
when you're doing 340 reps.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, okay. So
it's funny you said about the band pegs as well, Sonia, because we spoke in the last podcast, me and Mark, about accommodating resistance, and the one thing we both agreed on was banded deadlifts, and that was before we'd agreed to buy the platform, so it wasn't like a preempted selling point. Where like we spoke about like from a strength component that like banded squats, we're not 100% sure if they have a benefit. But we both agreed that with a banded deadlift, it can reinforce good positions off the floor and it can be a really useful exercise. But if you want to do a banded deadlift, do you remember, Mark, when we first opened, I was doing banded deadlifts, and to set them up, I'd put a 50-kilo dumbbell either side of the fucking platform and band underneath it. And you'd have to get someone to hold the dumbbell down because otherwise it'd pull it in. And then the other option is for you to stand on the band, which is fine, but like, it elevates the feet slightly.
I use a banded deadlift quite a lot in my own training, especially like in the run up to the season and during the season as well. It's a real big movement for me, and like normally stand on it, but it's not ideal, is it? So I'm really looking for. It's hard for me to pinpoint one thing that out of all of that I'm really looking forward to getting in myself, from a training point of view, because my training, being focused around rugby, is very varied. So like, I'll appreciate the squat stands, I'll appreciate the benches because I do bench, albeit very poorly. I'll appreciate the rogue echo bikes from a conditioning point of view, but like the deadlift platforms like is very exciting because I do like to use banded deadlifts, whether that's conventional or I like to use those. And from a business point of view and a coaching point of view, I'm looking forward to those platforms as well, because like you say, there's just a tidiness and getting everything set. It's a very structured gym, but like with the deadlift, it's like, right, there's space there, just pick a space and deadlift, whereas this will be a bit more regimented. So I'm looking forward to that. So I don't know, one piece of kit, like the heaters obviously is a big one, but in terms of training equipment, the Prowler, absolutely.
I thought you was going to say the trap on, Mark, because the trod
that's so variable,
but the open back one allowing you to do like easy single leg work, and
it's a great shout. Yeah, great shout. The open trap bar, I'll get a lot of use out of that. Definitely,
it's
having the open
for us to pick one, because obviously we wanted the best from, like we picked.
Yeah, it's it's interesting. So yeah, I'd probably say from like a coaching and business point of view, like the deadlift platforms is quite exciting. The weightlifting platform, the weightlifting squat stands are great as well, and the Rogue Echo bikes, and like they're fantastic. So I don't know.
We forget about the skiers, because I don't think anyone did a Metcon with the skier.
That's it.
Like how good that is.
Yeah, forget about the skiers, because we got those during the last time we were. Yeah, well, it was December, wasn't it, when we were actually open? But because we couldn't run classes in December, we didn't really get, obviously got,
exactly.
it was a bit of a funny month, December anyway, wasn't it? But
I think it was pretty much just before Christmas as well. So actually, we pretty much.
So really, they're brand new as well. So it's exciting. But the open end trap bar is a great shout, actually, from a training point of view for me. I'm very much looking forward to reverse lunge work, single leg deadlifts on that. So I think I'll get a lot of use out of that. So exciting times.
Yeah, it's going to be a great setup for the classes now, the Metcons, like with 3 rowers, 3 bikes, 3 skiers, full track of prowlers. Like it's just going to be a greater addition, which will be probably adjusted also to like the social distancing and stuff. We'll see how this is going to work, but now it's going to be just super easy to spread out. You're going to get your piece of kit and you're going to get your circuit to complete. So this is going to be all exciting, and with implementing the med balls as well. I think we're just going to again start with like blocks, 4 or 6 weeks, building up probably a bit of aerobic base. But I'm not sure yet. I'm just sure that like we're gonna switch it completely from what people have been doing home. Like
I'm really excited to add the strongman kit in. I think that's because we used to do quite a lot of strongman kit, and I think it just needed like a couple of pieces to be added. Like sandbag carries into farmers, into a heavy sledge drag. That's just such good,
just all the
hard aerobic work.
Yeah. Probably that the use of the kit will be the biggest one, as people were left with like a dumbbell or kettlebell. So
it's interesting, like the two ends of the spectrum, which are going to be improved on Metcon. Like you've got like the heavy strongman work, And then you've added like the med ball work, which is the complete end of the strength speed spectrum. Like your super light work and trying to do that with really high quality, and then trying to move heavy implements fairly quick. They're going to be great for Metcon. I think like when you said we normally do like performance testing, but coming away from the every 8 weeks it was doing before, maybe just having like an end of block performance testing and trying to like complete like a strongman medley as quickly as you can. Just that competitive element of it is great for Metcon. I think you've just got so much more options to do that. So that's what I'm excited about for Metcon.
Big time. There's some great toys to play with there for sure. The sandbags, that's another one I almost forgot about. Getting a few of those in is going to be good fun. And I think we've always used med balls in Metcon, obviously, but having a few more options with those now is going to enable us to get a bit more use out of those. Yeah. So
the med ball v the slam ball. Like the slam balls are great for slamming, but for actual against the wall work, like you're standing right next to it, I think just again like having that kind of external, almost like immediate validation about how you're doing on your speed work, being able to stand further away and do like a med ball throw, it just shows you how faster you're getting, rather than like the slam ball, it would not bounce no matter how hard you threw it. You didn't really get that like instant feedback, but now like you can tell from the noise, you can tell from how it bounces back how well you're performing the movements. I think having that instant feedback is going to be great for people as well, to encourage them to keep it nice and light.
From a training perspective, it's quite good for absorbing forces as well. The speed in which it's coming back off the wall. Like I'm a big fan, like going back to like the military days and like especially the rugby league days that I used to do, where we'd do a lot of like, I was real big into like heavy med ball, like not only throw but catch type work, absorbing impacts, absorbing rotational forces as well. And I was a big fan of heavy single kettlebell cleans as well for that aspect. So not only the ability to produce a force to bring the weight up, but also catching and avoiding those rotational forces is really good from like a combat sport point of view. And the med balls being that little bit bouncier are actually quite good for that. Like you say, the force you're thrown into the wall, they don't slow down, they come back almost twice as quick. So being able to absorb the impact, and then like if you're doing it very sort of plyo based, where you're going bang straight back in, you're doing very reactive type work with it. That could be really cool as well. So cool. We've got obviously some good improvements there with the Metcon and the barbell club type stuff as well. All our open gym. Any sort of changes we want to talk about with the barbell club?
I guess with the barbell club, the main thing that we already have with the programming, and you've just got a bit more options in terms of like spreading the kit out a bit evenly between barbell club and your open gym. But like actually in terms of service, one thing I'm really excited about is just streamlining the check-in service. So at the minute we use like the True Coach app, so people get instant feedback, but they almost have to freestyle it. And some people are super confident with it and others aren't. So now we've made up a Google form questionnaire that we're going to send out every week, just asking people to quantify stuff. So it's so easy for us then to feedback, like how sore is training leaving you? How much did you enjoy it? Any questions that you have, etc., and just giving people an opportunity to say what they're struggling with, what's going well, so that when we do the check-in, it's just so much easier for us to respond and say, hey, we've noticed that you're struggling with your nutrition. Is there anything we can do to make it easier? Or I've noticed training's leaving you super sore. Maybe we should ease things back a little bit here, or actually feel great. Let's add a little bit more work here. Let's try and push things a little bit harder. Just having that like weekly feedback and making that a lot easier is going to be great for especially the people that don't like to speak up that much. I don't know what you guys find, but like with the check-in, some people send over like 3 paragraphs. Other people send over, it's going well. And it doesn't really give you much to play with.
I think with that, like it's emphasizing further and improving that individualization aspect as well with the barbell club. So we promote barbell club as being you're getting the best of personal coaching and group training as well. You're getting the best of the combination of that. You're getting the personal coaching in terms of the check-ins, the programmings, the monitoring, everything like that, and then you get the best of the group environment, which I think we're all very much in belief now, that training in that group environment, can certainly bring the best out of you. And we've seen it, haven't we? We've seen it with, when we've done testing days and things like that, having people around you. I used to do it back with, KBT with the military stuff. You'd be doing like, we used to do like 1RM deadlift testing and stuff like that. And it was just like everyone would hit a PB because you just got everyone around you like hyping you up and stuff. And it's like, it's quite cool, like in that aspect, like the group training and just keeping each other accountable and just making it fun. But that questionnaire and feedback type stuff is just going to further improve that personal coaching side of it.
I think when people say like individual training, like people in their head think of it as this like mad, like, oh, one guy's going to be doing 1 million box jumps and this, and someone else is going to be doing a 3-rep max on squat. And actually people's training on the face of it looks incredibly similar, but the individual differences come in like the fine tuning of these small things. So like, oh, you feel incredibly sore from training, you don't feel sore at all. So we're going to manipulate the volume ever so slightly, adjust the RPEs as needed. These are the small differences that make training individual, rather than people thinking, I need this mad, ridiculous program that's got like 12 different exercises that no one else in the world is doing. And it's just not like that. Like everyone should be doing similar movement patterns, but the individuality comes from fine-tuning these little things. And that's what the questionnaire allows you to do.
Well, especially from sort of a Gen Pop, and I don't like calling our guys Gen Pop because they're not. They're budding sort of athletes and in their own right. But like especially in that point of view, like so easy to say, right, okay, squat. Someone might be doing a variation within that, but we're all going to do that squat pattern, that hinge pattern, that push, pull, carry, and then subtle variations. And even something specialist like with my rugby and your powerlifting, like if we really wanted to, we could, and time allowed it, we could train together really, like, and it would be perhaps more similar than you would think.
I was going to say there's more similarities than there are differences between our training. Like you do a trap bar, I do a deadlift, you do a box squat, I do a squat, you do a press, I do a bench, board press or something. I always see you with the boards.
No, I haven't used board press in training for a long time. I do like to use a board press with athletes. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. But there's more similarities than differences.
100%, like 100%. And as I'm coming more into like season and stuff, I might be, I'm a big fan of like complex stuff and or contrast, whatever you want to call it, sort of, Russian complex training, going from strength into speed. So we might be doing, bench, for example, and even if I'm using a football bar, for example, you'd be benching, I'll be using a football bar, and then I might go and superset with a med ball throw or something, whilst you're getting more rest for obviously a heavier set to come.
I've got the camping chair out and having a nap in the corner,
you got your blanket out and you're having your 10 minutes. But yeah, like if work was different and we had the time to train together, you could actually make it work, I think, and like be doing real similar, like deadlift together. Like I said, I might be doing trap bar, you might be doing conventional. We're both bench, we both do a squat variation, we both do our accessory work. So, and
another one for people is
yeah, I was just saying that's at a competitive, dare I say it, elite level, of sport. And and there's still more similarities. So for general non-competitive, let's say, population, it can be a lot more similar than you think.
I think another good thing with it is like the enjoyment levels, because I enjoy doing the same stuff over and over again, but some people need more variation. And I think you want to avoid variation for the sake of variation, but like if you're variating things to to heighten people's enjoyment levels, and that makes them come into the gym ready to train a little bit harder, and that can be great as well. So looking at the questionnaire, you can see like your enjoyment levels, and if people's enjoyment levels are around a 3 and a 4, we might say, okay, they need a bit more variation than the average person. So rather than sticking with a belt squat every week, we're just going to change the squat movement every single week. And while that's not going to be the best thing in the world to develop overall skill, if they're not specifically wanting to get good at the safety bar, if I just want to enjoy training and get stronger across a multitude of movements, then we can add more variation, or we can just say, okay, you're not enjoying just doing barbell curl 3 times a week. So let's drop your barbell down to 2 times a week and let's add in a couple of metcons and let's see if that variation can add. So I think the enjoyment component as well, like changing your mentality going into your sessions, is going to help you sustain it, but also make you come into the sessions, give a little bit more of a push. If you're dreading coming in and squatting again, which is fair, a lot of people don't want to do it, that bit of variation can help people continue to really push hard and get better results. So that's going to be good as well, I think.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
Improvement, like as we slowly improve in the barbell club, like I think the check-in is still kind of evolving, because I think that people have to realize that the more data they can get, the better the results. Like I really believe that like what get measured get managed, and like as you just like, you know, we are really pushing people to track the numbers, the load, the RPE, and they learn how to do that still. And I think this feedback, Google survey, what is it?
Google survey. Come on, Sona, you do it. It's the Google form.
Yeah, for
you know this.
That'll be great addition, and I think
Big time.
like big one will be the nutrition as well. If people like, the only thing I think is that like they need to learn how to track it, because like I think over lockdown people maybe been looking into food differently, and they just realized that, you know, like we spoke about it before, that like how much they actually consume, like if it's going to be body composition change, because obviously we really like performance driven, but I think that there are still a lot of people who are like body composition driven.
Yeah.
So you know, whether
it's good on the
whether it's food, like measuring everything you do will get you the results. So
it'll be good to see the link between the questionnaire and how honest people are about how, like there's a question saying how good was you with your nutrition this week, and then there's an option to put in your average weekly weight. If their average weekly weight is going up and they say, oh, I'm being 100% with my nutrition, or if they're going to be completely honest, and that's going to be something that comes with time and learning that you can't lie about these things. Because if they say, oh, I'm being 100% in my training, you say, okay, well, we need to drop your calories ever so slightly to try and get you into a bit more of a calorie deficit. And then all of a sudden, like it's ridiculously low, but they're actually not following it. Like it'll be interesting to see the disparity between the honesty and the results. And people will lie, but I think with time, people will learn not to lie.
Absolutely. Very exciting, guys. I think we'll round up there. If there's, unless there's anything else anyone wants to bring up.
I think we're good. I think it's clear that we're all very excited. It's clear that we made some good improvements and we're all ready to go on the 12th, man.
Fantastic, excellent stuff, guys. So we look forward to seeing you all in 4 weeks' time, and yeah, stay in touch. Check us out, obviously, YouTube, Spotify, and we'll continue with our weekly podcast. And I hope you're enjoying them. So thanks, guys, for joining me, and thanks for tuning in. Cheers.